September of 1953, the year that London rejoiced in the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. 1,700 physiotherapists, doctors and members of allied professions have come from 25 countries to London for a first international congress of the World Confederation for Physical Therapy. Headquarters opposite Westminster Abbey, where Her Majesty was crowned, are the Great Central Hall. Here we meet the President of the World Confederation, Miss Mildred Elson, from the United States of America.
In physical therapy, there are no barriers of language or communication. We have a common bond, a common interest, the physical therapy for the patient.
In the presence of many international medical figures, Britain's Minister of Health, the Right Honourable Ian MacLeod MP, officially opened the Congress and recorded a special message for this film.
This is the first international Congress organised by the World Confederation for Physical Therapy. And it gives me great pleasure as Minister of Health to welcome you all to London. Now, those of you who are here with us in the Central Hall are going to see and hear eminent medical men and physical therapists from all over the world. But it gives me great pleasure as well that a film record is being taken of all these proceedings, so that those of you who can't be with us this week can see something of what is going on and learn something of the discussions that will take place. It's got a very long history, physical therapy, but it's never moved so fast or so surely as it has in these last few years. And its true object, of course, is not just of returning the patient to existence, but to a real, full, happy and useful life. I believe this conference is going to be a great success. And I would like, in welcoming you all, to express the hope as well that you will have an enjoyable time here with us in London in our coronation year.
Symbolizing the limitless fields of physiotherapy, Mr. MacLeod concluded his opening address by lighting a revolving globe of the world.
I have much pleasure in declaring open the first Congress of the World Confederation of Physical Therapy.
And this remained a light for the duration of the Congress. The scientific program included papers and demonstrations on physiotherapy in neuromuscular disorders, rheumatic diseases and chest diseases, and in the rehabilitation of the industrial worker. Medical men and well-known physiotherapists renowned in these spheres contributed. In one morning session, 10 physiotherapists from 9 different countries read papers on treatment and research. This was even more remarkable when one realizes that in many cases the lecturers had prepared and delivered their talks in a language not their own. Mrs. Madders showed her methods of antenatal training. Here she is teaching relaxation and back exercises. Patients demonstrated the value of physiotherapy in chest conditions, which had been the subject of a lecture earlier in the day by Sir Clement Price Thomas. Miss Reed introduced the demonstration of pre- and post-operative non-TB cases given by adults. Here, localized breathing and arm exercises are being practiced under the supervision of Miss Kibble and other chartered physiotherapists. Miss McDowell gives child asthma sufferers the treatment they would normally be having at this time in the Brompton Hospital. Going to the zoo by train with windows closed, closed mouths to us, is good activity and makes for deep breathing. Playing at being an elephant with swaying trunk is excellent for relaxing the shoulder girdle, and for posture, a combination of bunny jumps and sudden stop and listen helps enormously. This was a popular session both with patients and audience. A symposium on posture in industry given by physiotherapists from Norway, Denmark and Sweden was followed with great interest. The whole of the ground floor of Central Hall was devoted to a fine exhibition of the very latest in physiotherapy equipment organized by the Electro-Medical Trade Association. Physiotherapy was demonstrated at many hospitals and clinics in the vicinity of London, and while some delegates stayed behind in the Central Hall to watch films such as that on paraplegia with commentary by Dr. L. Gutmann, or a demonstration of recreational activities in the rehabilitation of the injured by Miss Barclay, MCSP, 30 coaches were filled by others who went to see physiotherapy departments like this one in the Middlesex Hospital. Visitors were able to get a good indication of the type of work and equipment which goes into physiotherapy in Great Britain. Another type of clinic visited was the Slough Industrial Health Service in Buckinghamshire. The very full scientific program was relieved by many delightfully varied evening social events. Her Majesty's government entertained a number of the delegates at Lancaster House on Monday evening, while others went to the Festival Hall to see the ballet. The following evening, the London branch of the Chartered Society entertained many overseas visitors to a view of the River Thames from a launch. Refreshments were served en route, and as dusk closed in and twinkling lights appeared, the guests were treated to an enchanting view of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. Upstream, they glided past the Festival Hall, built for the 1951 Festival of Britain, and then, returning with the tide, they came in sight of Tower Bridge and their destination, the grim Tower of London, where some watched the historic ceremony of the keys carried out by the Guards, while others admired the crown jewels of England. Later, at a reception in the Great Hall of the British Medical Association, Miss Elson, our president, and Miss McAllister, the first vice president, received the World Confederation's guests. The largest social gathering of the week took place on Wednesday, when the Chartered Society entertained over 1,100 delegates in the historic Guild Hall. Accompanied by his ceremonial mace and sword bearers, the Lord Mayor of London, Sir Rupert de la Beer, arrives. For over 500 years, Lord Mayors have greeted visitors in this building. And on this memorable occasion, Sir Rupert and Lady de la Beer graciously received the guests with Professor and Mrs. J. Willis, Miss Barron, the Vice Chairman, and other well-known members of the Chartered Society. After the Lord Mayor, with mace, sword and retinue, passes in procession through the Guild Hall, the guests form parties, some to look at the treasures in the library and museum, others to seek refreshments in the crypt. On Thursday afternoon, the trustees of the SIBA Foundation for the Promotion of International Cooperation in Medical and Chemical Research gave a cocktail party at their headquarters in Portland Place. The Right Honourable Lord Horder, GCVO, one of the Foundation's trustees and President Emeritus of the Chartered Society, received guests. Lord Horder and another of the trustees, Lord Beveridge, enjoy a chat with Professor Willis, Miss Elson and Lady Beveridge. That evening there was a reception at the Apothecaries' Hall in Blackfriars. The Master of the Apothecaries, Dr. Seward Morley, with Miss Elson, Mrs. Coleridge and Mrs. Eyersnap, received guests at the top of the lovely staircase. One of the delegates wore the national dress of her country, Norway. After a short talk on the history of the Apothecaries' Hall, many of the guests accepted an invitation to go on the roof and see a lovely night view of London. Before this, however, there had been an important business meeting in the Central Hall, the second general meeting of the World Confederation for Physical Therapy, at which France was warmly welcomed into membership, raising the total number of member countries to 12. Miss Nielsen, the Honorary Secretary and Treasurer, presented the accounts for the past year. Miss Elson was unanimously elected President for a second term, and the three Vice Presidents, Miss McAllister of Great Britain, Mrs. Coleridge of Sweden, and Mrs. Eyersnap of Denmark, were also returned to office. Norway and Australia were due to retire from the executive, and the election for these places returned Australia, but France took Norway's place. After the business of the meeting, Miss McAllister made presentations on behalf of the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy to the President and the members of the Executive Committee. Delegates were thus able to show their warm appreciation of all the work done by these members. A particularly warm ovation greeted Miss Nielsen, who as Honorary Secretary organized the Congress. On Friday afternoon, when the scientific program reached its end, Professor Willis received from Miss Elson a beautiful book as token of affection and appreciation from all those who had attended this first International Congress. Finally, the professor extinguished the light in the symbolic globe, and this was a very moving moment. However, so that last memories of the Congress should be gay ones, a brilliant assembly gathered in the Park Lane Hotel for dinner and dancing. Dr. Jerome Peterson, representing the World Health Organization, and Miss Elson made short speeches after dinner. An excellent display of Scottish country dancing preceded the ballroom dancing, which went on until Auld Lang Syne and the national anthem brought to a close a crowded, exciting and instructive week. Her Majesty's Minister of Health, Mr. Ian MacLeod, adds these words of summing up.
You've seen, even if you couldn't be here in person, through the eyes of the film camera, something of what took place at the First International Congress. You've listened to some of the most famous names in this country in this particular branch of healing. You've been taken into some of our great hospitals and seen the magnificent work that's being done there. The important thing now is to spread that knowledge, to make certain that it travels in the same way as you travel back to your countries all over the world. The important thing is that to make certain from this small beginning of this First International Congress, the art of physical therapy shall become a worldwide one. And I look to the future when all the countries will be together in these international congresses, and when we may be able to spread the knowledge of new techniques to everyone, wherever they may be.